So we're going to answer the question, is it okay to drink coffee if you have a fatty liver? Okay. Well, actually, coffee has a lot of phytonutrients that are beneficial to the liver. So it's not a bad thing for a fatty liver. What's bad about coffee is non-organic coffee. If it's not organic, it is filled with so many pesticides and insecticides and fungicides and herbicides. You want to avoid that because the liver is all about detoxifying chemicals and we don't want to add them back in there. These chemicals are very oxidizing, which means they increase inflammation, okay, and then lead to cirrhosis. Now, there's different types of a fatty liver. You have a fatty liver that actually comes from drinking too much alcohol. And then you have a non-alcoholic fatty liver, and there's different types. One type would be just a fatty liver. Another one would be fatty liver plus inflammation, which then leads to cirrhosis. So there's several types. There's several ways to figure out if you have a fatty liver. Ultrasound, biopsy, which is invasive, and MRI is a lot better than a biopsy. But an ultrasound might be the best way to determine if you have a fatty liver or not. Now, if you look up information about a fatty liver, it'll say that fatty liver is one factor of the metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome, or syndrome X, has several things. It has high triglycerides, low good cholesterol, HDL, so-called good cholesterol, central obesity, visceral fat, fat in your belly, high blood pressure, and high blood glucose. But in reality, if we add a fatty liver here, all of these are symptoms of high insulin. So if you have a fatty liver, there are things that are really important and things that are trivial. I'm going to tell you the most important things. That fat on your liver is not coming from eating fat. It's from eating carbohydrates and consuming things like trans fats and even vegetable oils like soy and corn that's GMO. So the most important thing is to reduce your carbs, especially fructose, in any form. The other thing that can really help you is something called choline. You can get this as a powder. Choline will strip the fat off your liver. It just so happens that egg yolks are really high in choline. Betaine hydrochloride is really good for the liver as well, stripping fat off the liver. A lot of greens, as in vegetables, can help you. And then, of course, intermittent fasting keeps your insulin low so your body can use the fat off the liver as fuel. So what happens with a lot of people is that they are consuming too many carbs, they have high blood glucose, and all this glucose has to go somewhere. So it's being converted into fat, into the fat cell. And there's a point where your fat cells get so stuffed, it leaks out and it spills over around the fat cells. And it starts building up around the organs. And so the body will start shoving it into spaces around the abdominal cavity, around the viscera, around the belly, and then also in the liver as well. So we have this supersaturation of fat throughout the entire thoracic cavity and then the cavity down here in your gut. So when you see people with a belly, you know there's also that fat on the liver as well. What's interesting is that 9 out of 10 diabetics that are overweight have a fatty liver. Why is that? Well, because they all have high blood glucose. That's why. Okay, so intermittent fasting, very, very important. Vitamin E is very important because the amount of oxidation that's occurring with the high sugar. Okay, so the high sugar is very oxidating to the arteries, to the liver cells. So if you take enough high quality natural vitamin E, that can greatly help reduce the complications of the fatty liver and definitely slow down the cirrhosis, which is the scar tissue, because once you have the cirrhosis, it's very difficult to undo that and reverse that. And you pretty much get on the liver transplant list when that happens. So the best thing to do is to avoid that and prevent it. So in summary, the liver is a really important organ in detoxification. So we don't want to start putting more chemicals in there. Do your organic coffee. Personally, I do coffee. I do 1 small cup in the morning. All right, thanks for watching. Hey, if you're liking this content, please subscribe now, and I will actually keep you updated on future videos.